Have you ever wondered if something as private as masturbation could actually harm your health after 50 or 60? I've had countless patients, men just like you, look me straight in the eye and ask if their private habit might be secretly damaging their prostate, their hormones, or even their performance in the bedroom. And I'll be honest with you, the fear is real because the information out there is full of half-truths and outdated myths. Over the years, I've seen men lose sleep over this question, worried that every choice behind closed doors might shave years off their vitality. But here's what the science really shows, and it's not what most people think. There are surprising benefits that can actually protect your health as you age. But there are also very real risks if you get it wrong. That's why in this video, I'm going to take you inside both sides of the truth, 10 powerful benefits and 10 hidden dangers, so that by the end, you'll know exactly how to turn this private act into a tool for long-term health instead of a silent threat. And trust me, what I'm about to share will completely change the way you think about your own body. I can't tell you how many times older men have sat across from me whispering the same fear. Doctor, if I keep doing this, am I going to break something down there? The truth is the opposite is often the case. When I look at the science, what it shows is fascinating. Every time a man gets an erection, blood rushes into two sponge-like chambers called the corpora cavernosa. Think of it like pumping air into the tires of a car. If you never inflate them, they lose their shape, and over time, they collapse. In the same way, regular erections act like physical therapy for the penis, keeping tissues elastic, responsive, and capable of holding firmness. One landmark study on erectile aging showed that men who stayed sexually active, whether with a partner or through self-pleasure, had measurably stronger erectile function than those who stopped. In plain terms, use it or lose it. I've seen patients in their 70s and 80s who maintain surprisingly good function. And one common factor they shared was consistent circulation and exercise of this vital tissue. And this is just the beginning, because while protecting firmness is critical, there's another hidden benefit of self-pleasure that men rarely expect. It has everything to do with the prostate. But before I reveal that, let me show you why so many of my patients call this discovery a lifesaver. And here's where things get even more surprising. After years of treating older men, I can tell you the single word that always makes their faces tighten in fear prostate. Many of my patients quietly confess that they've lost friends to prostate cancer, and they worry every time they step into my office that they might be next. That fear is real, but here's what the research uncovered, and it shocked even me the first time I read it. A landmark Harvard study following over 30,000 men found that those with a higher frequency of ejaculation had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. Why? The simplest explanation is often the most powerful. Regular release helps flush out harmful substances from the prostate ducts, like clearing stagnant water from a pipe before it turns toxic. When the system keeps moving, it stays cleaner and healthier. I've seen patients who once lived in quiet dread, believing their private habit was making things worse, only to discover that moderation and consistency were actually protecting their health. That shift from fear to empowerment is one of the most liberating moments a man can experience. And if protecting the prostate wasn't enough, there's another hidden bonus that no man can afford to ignore. Every orgasm secretly strengthens a set of muscles that control not only erections, but even your bladder. Let me explain why my patients call this their invisible shield. When I explained to one of my patients that every orgasm is secretly a workout, he laughed in disbelief. But then I showed him the science. During climax, the pelvic floor muscles, especially the pubococcygeus muscle, contract in rhythmic pulses. It's like doing tiny invisible push-ups inside your body. And those muscles matter more than most men realize. A strong pelvic floor isn't just about better erections, though that alone is reason enough. It's also the muscle group that gives you control over ejaculation and even helps prevent urinary leakage, a problem that silently haunts millions of men over 60. I've seen men walk into my clinic embarrassed, afraid they were losing control, only to discover that their own body was already equipped with a natural training system. They just hadn't been told how powerful it was. Studies consistently show that men with better pelvic muscle tone report stronger performance and greater confidence in intimacy. It's the kind of advantage you can't see in the mirror, but you definitely feel in your daily life. And here's what makes it even more fascinating. Those same contractions that strengthen your core also trigger a cascade of chemical changes that calm your stress hormones. In other words, what begins as physical training quietly transforms into emotional therapy. And that shift is where the next discovery becomes truly life-changing. One of the most common complaints I hear from my older patients isn't about performance, it's about stress, sleepless nights, high blood pressure, constant worry. And there's one hormone at the center of it all: cortisol. Think of cortisol as the body's internal alarm bell. A little keeps you alert, but when it keeps ringing all day, it damages your heart, weakens your immunity, and steals your peace of mind. Here's where the body's design is nothing short of brilliant. Research has shown that orgasm triggers a measurable drop in cortisol levels. I've had patients monitor their blood pressure before and after, and the difference is often immediate. The heart rate calms, muscles unclench, breathing deepens. It's like flipping a natural reset switch that no pill can fully imitate. In today's world where stress is linked to heart disease, memory decline, and even premature death, having an accessible tool to quiet that storm is priceless. And it doesn't just stop at lowering stress. That calming release sets off another hidden chain reaction inside the brain, one that can lift mood, sharpen motivation, and create a sense of deep connection. And that's exactly where we're heading next, because the very chemicals that surge in the brain after release are the reason so many of my patients describe this moment not just as relief, but as pure joy. Right after stress levels fall, something else happens that many of my patients describe as nothing short of magical. I've had men in their 60s tell me, "Doctor, for a few moments after I feel like I'm 20 again." That's not imagination, it's chemistry. Every orgasm releases a surge of neurochemicals, dopamine, the molecule of motivation and reward, and oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Dopamine lights up the brain's reward circuits, giving a sense of energy and purpose. Oxytocin, on the other hand, creates warmth, trust, and emotional closeness, even when you're alone. Together, they form what I call the body's feel-good cocktail. One study even showed that oxytocin levels spike high enough to mimic the calm satisfaction of a long hug or deep meditation. It's the body's built-in antidote to loneliness, anxiety, and low mood. For my patients who struggle with depression or isolation, this natural chemistry has been a lifeline. They tell me it's the one moment they feel genuinely connected to themselves, to their emotions, and even to memories of love and intimacy from their younger years. And here's where it gets even more important. Those same moments of connection also sharpen awareness of your own body. Because when you're this in tune, you're far more likely to notice the earliest warning signs of problems that could save your life. Here's something most men never expect: self-pleasure can actually save your life. I've had patients who noticed a small lump, an unusual curve, or sudden tenderness during a private moment, things they might have ignored for months otherwise. That moment of awareness led them straight to my office, where early detection made all the difference. Why does this matter so much? Because conditions like testicular cancer, Peyronie's disease, or penile fibrosis often start silently. You won't feel them during your daily routine. But when you know your own body, when you're comfortable enough to notice subtle changes, you become your own first line of defense. One study in the Journal of Urology even showed that men who practiced regular self-examination caught abnormalities earlier, leading to faster treatment and better outcomes. I've seen this firsthand. A man in his late 50s once told me he discovered a small, hard knot while touching himself, something he would have dismissed had he not been familiar with his normal anatomy. That discovery quite literally changed the course of his health. And here's the powerful twist. The very act that helps you detect problems early also triggers a hormonal shift that improves the one thing nearly all my older patients struggle with: restful, deep sleep. Let me show you why many men describe this as the best sleeping pill nature ever designed. One of the most heartbreaking complaints I hear from older men isn't about sex, it's about sleep. They tell me, "Doctor, I lie awake at night staring at the ceiling and nothing works. Lack of deep rest drains energy, weakens immunity, and accelerates aging." But here's what many don't realize: orgasm itself can be one of the body's most powerful natural sedatives. After climax, two things happen at once. Oxytocin and prolactin surge, creating a wave of calm and satisfaction. At the same time, cortisol, the stress hormone I mentioned earlier, plummets. The combination acts like a chemical lullaby, guiding the body into relaxation mode. Research in sleep medicine reviews confirms that sexual activity before bed improves both the time it takes to fall asleep and the depth of sleep achieved. I've had patients in their 60s who told me they relied on sleeping pills for years, only to discover that consistent sexual release gave them a deeper, more refreshing rest with no grogginess the next morning. The difference was night and day, literally, and here's where the story grows. Even more fascinating, that same improved relaxation isn't just about rest. It also supercharges blood circulation in the entire pelvic region, fueling vitality in ways most men have never been told. Let me show you why my patients often describe this as turning the lights back on in their lower body. After better sleep, there's another hidden upgrade happening in the body that most men overlook: circulation. One of my patients once told me, "Doctor, it feels like everything down there just wakes up." And he was right, because every erection and release pushes fresh blood not only into the penis, but throughout the entire pelvic region. That means the bladder, prostate, and surrounding muscles are all receiving a healthy supply of oxygen and nutrients. Think of it like running water through a pipe system. If water keeps moving, the pipes stay clean and strong. But when circulation slows, stagnation sets in, and with it come problems like pelvic pain, swelling, or urinary issues. Research in Circulation Journal confirms that men with regular sexual activity had improved vascular function, not just in their genitals, but across the lower body. I've witnessed older patients who once struggled with pelvic heaviness report feeling lighter, more energized, and even noticing fewer urinary complaints once their blood flow improved. And here's the real surprise: this enhanced circulation doesn't just keep things healthy, it also creates the perfect environment for men to retrain their bodies and take back control over something that often causes silent embarrassment. I'm talking about premature ejaculation and how private practice can turn it into a safe training ground. For many of my patients, this is the most sensitive subject of all, finishing too fast. Men in their 50s, 60s, even 70s whisper it with shame, believing there's nothing they can do. But what if I told you that private practice can become the safest training ground to retrain your body? Here's how it works. When a man masturbates, he can experiment without pressure, without fear of disappointing a partner. Techniques like the stop-start method or the squeeze technique allow him to recognize the point of no return and regain control. Over time, this builds awareness, stamina, and confidence. I've had men who thought they were doomed to embarrassment discover that within weeks their control improved simply because they practiced consciously rather than rushing through habit. The science backs this up. Studies in sexual medicine confirm that men who train this way often report significantly longer times before climax when they return to partnered intimacy. It's proof that the nervous system can be rewired even later in life when given the chance to practice. And here's the fascinating twist. By using this private time, as training men aren't just fixing performance issues, they're also keeping the brain's sexual circuits active and responsive. That's why my next point may surprise you. The brain itself is the largest sex organ, and how you stimulate it determines whether desire stays alive or quietly fades away. So, as we've seen, male sexuality after 50 or 60 is not about shame or decline. It's about awareness balance and turning a private habit into a powerful ally for health. From protecting your prostate to sharpening control, from easing stress to boosting sleep, the evidence is clear when practiced consciously. This natural act can support both body and mind, but let me leave you with this. Your health is not defined by fear, but by the choices you make today. Listen to your body, respect its signals, and remember it's never too late to protect your vitality and enjoy the life you deserve. If this conversation gave you new insight, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What surprised you the most today? Share it in the comments. I read them all. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss the latest medical insights to support men's health and vitality. Save this video so you can revisit it anytime you need a reminder that your body is worth caring for. Stay strong, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.